climate change is real, and the issue of renewable energy is something which the government of Zimbabwe has already been working with for a while. I think you are aware that in 2019 we launched the renewable energy policy, which put in targets in terms of what we intend to bring into the sector as the energy mix, to ensure that we are climate resilient and we are also adopting the cleaner technologies. Having done that, prior to the renewable energy policy, government had also opened up the sector for private sector participation. And as you are aware, prior to 2002, and even most of the power generation, transmission and distribution was mainly vested in ZESA. So the opening up of the sector was the first legal instrument to allow for private sector participation. And the renewable energy space was the target area. So what has happened? We are all aware that with climate change, there has been more droughts, and I think this year in particular we are being affected by one of the worst droughts. And ZERA has been licensing various IPPs, and the IPPs which have been licensed by ZERA are in two categories. There are those who have been licensed to produce power for own consumption, and those who are being licensed as independent power producers who want to sell power to ZESA or onwards sell to customers. We have seen over the past 5 years a significant growth in the power for own consumption, where the private sector has taken the initiative through what we call commercial and industrial systems to build their own power stations. Here in Matabeleland and South, we have seen the likes of 12 megawatt, which was built by Caledonia Mine in Rwanda. We are expecting a new plant here in Bulawayo, 10 megawatts, and another 20 megawatts in Collinborn, which is being in total 30 megawatts, which is going to be built by PPC for own consumption. We are seeing some mines which have already taken the initiative of building their own power plants. I think recently we witnessed the coming in of another 12 megawatts in Pipita, where a mine is also building. And we have another large mine in National West, which is building about 35 megawatts of power, and so on and so on. So we are saying from the government policy, which came through as the renewable energy policy, one of the incentives which was put in place was to bring in the equipment related to renewable energy technologies duty-free, and this has helped to reduce the price of the renewable energy which is being installed by consumers. We've also seen the domestic sector also picking up in terms of putting different sizes of solar systems on their roofs as a way of ensuring that they get the electricity, especially during the times when they are subjected to higher load shedding. But from some, it's for in new areas which are still to be connected. If you go to those areas, most people are comfortably using renewable energy as their source of supply for both heating in terms of water heating through solar geysers, or for lighting and also entertainment through the solar PV systems with storage. So as a government, we have seen it fit to ensure that the incentives which have been put in place continue, and what we have further done to increase the uptake, having seen that some of the large projects were struggling because they were citing issues of guarantees as a challenge. Government, through the Ministry of Finance, has come up with what we refer to as a government implementation agreement. This agreement assures the independent power producers that once they've sold their power to ZESA, they will be allowed to be paid their requirements. And if ZESA fails, then government will be guarantor of that. I think those are some of the incentives which have been put in place, but we have also seen that the insurance and pension funds have also taken a stake in renewable energy projects. You realize that some of the IPPs, we have about 23 megawatts, which is coming in implementation agreement. This agreement assures the independent power producers that once they've sold their power to ZESA, they will be allowed to be paid their requirements. And if ZESA fails, then government will be guarantor of that. I think those are some of the incentives which have been put in place, but we have also seen that the insurance and pension funds have also taken a stake in renewable energy projects. You realize that some of the IPPs, we have about 23 megawatts, which is coming in Namibia. It's being funded by insurance companies and pension funds. And as part of the incentives in the policy, such projects qualify for what we call prescribed asset status. And through that, the insurance funds can then fund the projects. And we've seen an uptake of most of these projects which have been built, like the solar plant in Crossmalai is one of those which was funded through that, and the one in Harare, and many other small ones which are coming up. So we are very happy that the uptake has increased, but these other additional incentives are meant to make sure that we actually accelerate the uptake of the in the sector. Reduction in electricity generation is already happening because we are averaging around 200 megawatts already. So, but what has mitigated and reduced the impact from the previous years is the coming in of Unit 7 and 8. It has actually brought in the 600 megawatts, which was not there in the previous years when we had challenges. So you find that yes, we might have problems now and again, especially when units 1 to 6 are struggling and they are down. But the impact is much less as compared to the actual megawatts which we've already lost. And the other issue is that we will soon be launching an energy efficiency policy. It is important for everyone to see that this is not normal times. We are going through one of the worst droughts in the history of the country, and we all need to use energy efficiently. It's a very critical issue. Then the third issue is that, and I've already mentioned it, the private sector on their own, they've also taken on the initiative to build new capacity to ensure energy security. And when I'm talking about the 35 megawatts, the 12 megawatts which I've spoke about, I think we have over 50 or so megawatts of capacity which is being built by the private sector for their own consumption, and that does alleviate the pressure of the grid. And we are seeing the likes of the steel company. They will come in with an additional 50 megawatts, which they will also produce from the residual heat from their processes. So we know it's going to be a difficult time. So we urge people to brace up, reduce consumption, use the energy efficiently. But those who have capacity, especially the large consumers, we are also asking them to come in and also build additional capacity and take off the pressure boxes. And we have also restructured the market in such a way that large intensive energy users can buy directly from independent power producers, which gives them assurance that they will be paid timelessly. Maybe especially when ZESA in the past used to have challenges in paying. I think the key issue is that the energy sector is open for everyone to participate, and renewable energy in particular is an area where you can put a system which you can grow over time. You can scale it up. You can start small, and we urge that all those who are building new houses and that they, instead of using electric geysers, can they install solar water heaters. They are much cheaper in the long term because they will not need electricity to use hot water. They will always have that power, and they can also put in their own solar systems, which they can sell the excess power to ZESA through net metering. And ZESA is opening up such that in the case where you still have more you have supply, they can now also consider issues of cash payments for the power which you use. So we encourage people to look at renewable energy not just as a source of just supplying lighting and heating, but also as a potential source of income by them coming in